A very good morning to everyone. Today, I am JAYAVIKNESH SIVAMOORThy. Together with Darvin Eaganathan, will be presenting about the structure and functions of plant parts. There are four structures in plant parts, which are the stems, roots, leaves, and vascular tissues. We will begin with the stem. The stem has an epidermal layer that helps to maintain the shape of the stem. In young plants, the epidermal cells secrete a waterproof cuticle. In older plants, the epidermis may be absent and is replaced by bark. Inside the epidermis is the cortex layer. The cortex layer is made up of collenchyma cells which provide support and flexibility to the sum and parenchyma cells which store food. The inner parts of the stems consist of vascular bundles and the pitch, which is the central region of a stem. The pitch is used for food storage in young plants. The pitch may be absent in older plants, making them hollow. This is the cross-section of a dicotyledonous stem. In dicotyledonous plants, the vascular tissues of the stem are grouped together to form vascular bundles. The vascular bundles are arranged in a ring around the pitch. In each vascular bundle, system is found towards the inside of the stem with the phloem on the outside. A tissue called the cambium lies between the xylem and the phloem. In monocotyledonous plants, the vascular bundles are scattered throughout the stem. This is the cross-section of a monocotyledonous stem. Next is the root. The outermost layer is the epidermis. The epidermis of the roots does not have waxy cuticles. The epidermis absorbs water and dissolves mineral ions from the soil. Its also specialized epidermal cells grow outwards to form root hairs. Root hairs increase the surface area for water absorption. The region between the epidermis and the vascular cylinder is the cortex. The cortex is made up of parenchyma cells which store starch grains. It's also located immediately after the cortex is a single layer of cells called the endodermis. Next to the endodermis is the pericycle. The pericycle consists of sclerenchyma tissues which provides mechanical support for the roots. In the roots, the vascular tissue is located in the vascular cylinder. A vascular cylinder consists of vascular tissue and the pericycle. The vascular tissues of roots are continuous with the vascular tissues of stems. In a dicotyledonous plant, the xylem has a star-shaped form while the phloem fills the areas between the xylem. In a monocotyledonous plant, the vascular cylinder has a central core called the pitch. The pitch contains parenchyma cells. The vascular tissues form a ring around the pitch with the xylem tissue alternating with the phloem tissue. This is the cross-section of a dicotyledonous root, and this is the cross-section of a monocotyledonous root. Okay, lastly is the leaf. The leaf consists of a broad portion called the lamina. The blade is connected to the stem by a stalk called the petiole. Inside the petiole are the vascular tissues of xylem and phloem that are continuous with those in the stem, root and lamina. The leaf plate contains leaf veins. Vascular tissues are found in the leaf veins. Xylem forms the upper part of a vascular bundle in the leaf while phloem forms the lower part of the vascular bundle. The xylem transports water and mineral salts to the leaves. The phloem transports sucrose and other products of photosynthesis from the leaves. This is the cross-section of a monocotyledonous leaf. Next, Darvin Eaganathan will be presenting about the vascular tissues.
Thank you, Jaya. Now I will be presenting about vascular tissues in plants. Vascular tissue. The vascular tissues transport substances in plants. There are two types of vascular tissues. First is xylem and second is phloem. Vascular tissues are found in the roots, stems, and leaves. Now, let's take a look at the structure of xylem in relation to transport. Xylem. Xylem has two main functions. First is to transport water and dissolve mineral salts from the roots to the stems and the leaves. This occurs only in one way, and xylem also provides mechanical support for the plant. Xylem tissue consists of 4 types of cells. For example, they are xylem vessels, trachea. We will learn more about xylem vessels and trachea in the upcoming slides. And we have fiber and parenchyma. Okay, fiber is a type of sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma is a type of tissue which provides structural support for the plants. Fiber is a type of sclerenchyma tissue because it has rigid secondary walls, which is support and protection of the plant. Okay, parenchyma also is a type of tissue which is used to store food. Xylem vessels and tracheids are water conducting cells. Okay, this is because xylem vessels and tracheids only conducts water, which means it only allows the flow of water and mineral salts. That's why they are called water conducting cells. Okay, this is the structure of xylem. As you can see here, you can see xylem fibers, xylem parenchyma at the end here. You can see xylem fibers around the brown area here. You also can see xylem vessels and tracheids. We'll learn more about xylem vessels and tracheids in the upcoming slides. Xylem vessels. Okay, first let's take a look at structure of xylem vessels. Xylem vessels are dead cells which are cylindrical. The end walls of the xylem vessels are open so that the cells join end to end to form a long continuous hollow tube that connects the root to the leaf. Okay, this means that each xylem vessel, later we'll see at the structure of xylem vessel. Okay, each xylem vessel is connected at the end. So let's say this is a xylem vessel. It is connected to the another end of xylem vessels so that it becomes long and continuous hollow tube. Okay, hollow meaning that it has a hole, meaning it has lubang. It's like a pipe like that. So it join end to end to form a long continuous hollow tube. Then we can see xylem vessels have lignin. Okay, lignin is a substance that is deposited on the xylem vessel wall to strengthen it and giving support to the stems and the stalks. Okay, now let's take a look at the function of xylem vessels in transport of water. Okay, the xylem vessels have a continuous. Now let's take a look at the function of xylem vessels in transport of water. Okay, first of all, the xylem vessels have continuous lumen without any walls and protoplasm within it to obstruct the water and mineral salts to flow upwards. Okay, this continuous lumen means continuous hollow tube. As I said just now, the xylem vessels are like a pipe. It is long and it is hollow tube. It's a hollow tube, meaning that it has lubang. The lubang is called lumen. So the xylem vessels doesn't have any walls or protoplasm. Protoplasm means the cytoplasm. Is the combination of cytoplasm and nucleus and other organelles. So it doesn't have any walls and protoplasm which can disturb the flow of water and mineral. So without the walls and protoplasm, the xylem vessels can conduct water and allow the flow of water upwards continuously. Then we have xylem vessels which are thickened with lignin deposits, making them strong and hardy to prevent the vessels from collapsing. Okay, during the plant growth, the walls of xylem vessels are deposited with lignin, or also known as lignified, to provide strength. The strength is important to prevent the vessel from collapsing. Then we have lignin, which also prevents the entry of food substances. Okay, as you know, xylem vessels are only for flow of water and mineral salts. So lignin will prevent the entry of food substances. Now we look at the flow of water and dissolved mineral salts in only one way in xylem vessels. Okay, as I told in the beginning, xylem has a main function, which is to transport water and dissolved mineral salts from the roots to the stem and then to the leaves in only one way. So in xylem vessels, since xylem vessels are in xylem, it only conducts water in one way. As you can see here, the water and mineral salts flow in one way, and there's no end walls between the cells, meaning there's no obstruction to the flow of water and mineral salts. And then we have thick wall stiffed with lignin. Okay, lignin, we have different types of lignin, meaning that different sizes and different shapes of lignin. So you can see here the types of lignins here. We have annular, which is rings of lignin. We have spiral, meaning that this lignin is in the form of spiral. And then we have scleriform, reticulate, and pitted. Tracheids. The structure of tracheids cells. Okay, tracheids have dead cells when matured, and then they are long, slender cells with tapered and overlapping ends. Okay, tapered means reduced in thickness. So meaning that the tracheids, when the tracheids are long as well, but when they are as long as they go, they become tapered. Tapered means reduced in thickness. So as long as they go, they become thinner. So when they become thinner, it becomes like a point. So it at the end of tracheids, it is pointed. And then we have overlapping ends, meaning that the tracheids are overlapping on each other. So meaning that this is the pointed end of one tracheid, and then it is overlapped with another pointed part of tracheid. The tracheids also have thick, hard, and lignified secondary cell walls, meaning that they also have lignin in them. And then they have smaller lumen or diameter than xylem vessels. As I told you before, the xylem is the lubang. So the diameter of tracheids are smaller than xylem vessels. Okay, the function of tracheids in movement of water is first, water moves sideways through the pits in the adjacent tracheid cells before going upwards. Thus, the movement of water upward is slower in tracheids than in the xylem vessels. Okay, as I told you before, the tracheids are long, slender cells, tapered, meaning that they reduce in thickness towards the end. So when they're tapered, it overlaps on each other. So when they overlap, the water cannot flow straight away up there. The water can only need to move sideways. If you don't understand, you can see here the structure of tracheids. They are long, slender, and then they are pointed or tapered towards the end. So when they're tapered, they overlap. As you can see here, they overlap. They overlap like this. So since they overlap, they have pits. As we learned before this, pits is to allow water to move sideways. So the water moves sideways. The water moves sideways and not continuous. So when they are not continuous, like xylem vessels, they move slower since it has to move sideways. When it is just continuous like xylem vessels, it can just flow upwards. So, and as you can see here, the movement of water and dissolved mineral salts in sideways in xylem vessel. So you can see here on the left, we have xylem vessel. On the right, we have the tracheid. Okay, the xylem vessel, as you can see here, the water just moves straight away, straight just flows upwards continuously without any movement, side movements or anything. But you can see here, tracheid moves sideways a little bit to go upwards. Okay, Now we'll look at the structure of phloem in relation to transport. Phloem. Phloem functions as to transport food such as sugars, or also known as sucrose, and amino acids from the leaves for storage in the stem and roots. Okay, as you all know, plants does photosynthesis to produce food. The food is in the form of sugar and amino acids, and the produced food will travel along the phloem in order to be stored in the stem and roots. Phloem also transports food from the storage in the roots to the other parts of the plant needing the food. Based on the explanation, we can know the transport of food in phloem is a two-way flow, meaning that one flow is from the leaves to the stem and the roots. Another flow is from the roots to the other parts of plant. So one will be going down, one will be going up. So there is two flows. So as you can see, figure 7 shows the two-way flow in phloem. One is going up and one is going down. Okay, there are two main components of phloem. First is sieve tubes and second is companion cells. Okay, we'll learn more about sieve tubes and companion cells in the upcoming slides. Phloem tissue may contain phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers. Okay, as we looked just now in xylem also have parenchyma and fibers, which in phloem also it has the same function, which is the phloem parenchyma serves as food storage, and phloem fibers to give support, strength, and also protection. Sieve tubes. A sieve tube is made up of a single row of elongated and thin-walled living cells called sieve tube cells. Okay, the structure of mature sieve tube cells has only a thin layer of cytoplasm, does not have nuclei or a central vacuole, has also lost most of its other organelles. So as we saw just now in xylem vessels are unlike sieve tubes. Okay, sieve tubes are actually a cell, whereas xylem vessels are just hollow tube which does not contain anything. But sieve tubes is like a cell which has thin layer of cytoplasm but does not have any nuclei or any vacuole, and also doesn't have most of the organelles. So as you can see in figure 9, which shows the structure of sieve tube, this is a sieve tube cell which has thin layer of cytoplasm. As you can see here, it does not have any nuclei, any central vacuole, and also doesn't have any or most of the organelles. The cross walls which separate sieve tube cells at both ends are called sieve plates. Sieve tubes are so named because they are perforated by minute pores like a sieve. Okay, meaning that sieve tube has sieve tube cells, right? So each sieve tube cells are separated by sieve plates. Okay, meaning that we have one sieve tube cell and we have another sieve tube cell, okay, like this. And then it is separated by sieve tube, sieve plate here. Okay, sieve plate looks like they are perforated, meaning that it has small holes that looks like a sieve. So that's why sieve tubes are called sieve tubes, because they have small holes like a sieve that we use for cooking. So sieve plates allow cytoplasmic connections between vertically stacked cells which serve to transport food by diffusion and active transport. Okay, we have diffusion and active transport occurring at the same time because, as I told you just now, in sieve tube, the flow of food is in two-way. So when it's two-way, when it's, one will be diffusion, one will be active transport, will be going opposite. So since it is going opposite, it need to be transported through active transport. So one way will be flowing in through diffusion, and another way will be flowing through active transport to flow in the opposite direction. Each sieve tube cell is kept alive and its functions is supported by one or more companion cells. So what is the function of companion cells? Okay, now we look at the function of companion cells. Before that, let's take a look at the figure 10, which shows the sieve plate and companion cell. Okay, as you can see here, a sieve tube is separated by sieve plate, which has holes like a sieve. So the substances or the food that flows through diffusion or active transport will flow by here. It will flow through the sieve plate. So as you can see here, we also have companion cell which keep the sieve tube alive. Okay, companion cells. A companion cell is a normal cell with a nucleus and large number of mitochondria. Okay, this indicates it has active metabolism. One or more companion cells lie next to each sieve tube cell. So meaning that in one sieve tube cell, it maybe have one companion cell, or it might have more than one companion cells. So companion cells provide ATP for metabolic support for the sieve tube cells in the transport of manufactured food. Sieve tube needs energy in order to transport food in the form of active transport. So active transport needs energy. Needs energy in order for the active transport to happen. So since the companion cell has a lot of mitochondria, mitochondria will produce energy in the form of ATP. So the energy that is formed in the form of ATP, the ATP will be provided to the sieve tube in order for the active transport occurs in sieve tube. So meaning that companion cells has a lot of mitochondria. The mitochondria will provide energy in the form of ATP. The ATP will be sent to the sieve tube, and the ATP in the sieve tube will be used for active transport. So as you can see here, figure 11 shows the ultrastructure of sieve tube and companion cells. So as you can see here, the companion cells have a lot of mitochondria, and the mitochondria will really provide energy, will produce energy, since mitochondria is the power house of a cell. So it produces a lot of energy in the form of ATP. The ATP will be provided to sieve tube. The sieve tube uses the ATP in order to transport food and substances, manufactured food and substances through active transport. That is all from Jaya and me, Darwin. Thank you very much for listening at our presentation. Thank you.